All right. My little 6-year-old's watching the program apparently, so she has this question. Future apologist in training. Why didn't God just kill Satan when he knew him and not let sin into the world? So, a couple things. Did Satan actually let sin into the world? And
did God let sin into the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it was Adam and Eve, not Satan. And why? Why didn't he just take them out?
When you look at the best way I can answer that is going from the back of the Bible forward. A lot of times what we're doing is we're going from the front of the Bible to the back of the Bible, and we see these events, and we're somewhere in the middle of this whole thing, and we're looking at it and seeing the consequences of sin in the world and seeing how awful it is, and going, God, why did you allow this? Why did this go on? And again, he could have short-circuited it, but the problem with sin is not something that's just confined to Satan. And so the issue, as you pointed out, with Adam and Eve was that they disobeyed God. And so God passed out consequences to the serpent as well as to the man and the woman. But ultimately, it was Adam that brought sin into the world. It wasn't even Eve. It was Adam that was accountable for this, because God had told him not to eat from the fruit of the tree. Eve got that second hand. Mm-hmm. And so ultimately, the sin problem in the world came from mankind. When you go back from the back of the book, though, by the time that you get to the end, you have angels who are in the new heaven and new earth. And in the new heaven and new earth, the description is just utopian in the sense that there's no sin, there's no evil, there's no pain, there's no sorrow, there's no suffering, it says the cowardly, the unbelieving, abominable murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And so all those guys are taken out, and it says when you're talking about the New Jerusalem, there shall by no means enter it anything that defiles or causes an abomination or a lie, but only those who are written in the Lamb's book of life. And so you have this whole description where we have this idyllic situation, and it's because everybody made a choice. And so there are angels in the new heaven and new earth, but all those angels that are there are angels that made the choice to follow and to serve God. And there are people from Old Testament times in the new heaven and new earth, and all those people are people who made choices to serve and to follow God. And people from New Testament times, same thing. People who made the choice to serve and follow God. People from church times, people from the tribulation period, people from the millennial period, all these people have decided that they wanted to serve and follow God. And so by the time you get to the end, everybody has made a choice, and what God does is he perfects them, and they never fall to sin ever again. And so what you've got God doing in the Bible is allowing everyone to have a choice. And they can either choose to serve God, or they can choose to serve Satan or themselves. And that's what it finally gets down to. And when they choose to serve God, then God takes that and takes them and makes them into something that is perfect. And then you get what the earth and the heaven were supposed to be at the very beginning. All serving God, all in love with the Lord, all being loving towards each other, and everything is perfected. To get there, people and angels have to have a choice to get there. Otherwise, what you have is robots, and God doesn't make robots. God makes people, and he makes angels who have a free will and free moral choice. And he allows them to make those choices. So I think the reason that God allowed it is because the end must be so good. And that's the only reason I can see him allowing all the stuff that leads up to it. The end must be so good that everything else was worth it.
Yeah, there's a verse here in 1 Peter that goes along with what you're saying that was in my mind. It says, basically, of this salvation the prophets have inquired and searched carefully, prophesied of the grace that would come to you, searching what manner of time the Spirit of Christ who was in them was indicating when he testified beforehand the sufferings of Christ and the glories that would follow. Mm-hmm. So the glory of what you just unpacked. But this is the interesting thing in verse 12. To them it was revealed that not to themselves, but to us, they were ministering the things which now have been reported to you through those who have preached the gospel to you by the Holy Spirit sent from heaven. And then it says this, things which angels desire to look into. Mm-hmm. So it looks like God's doing this work with the angels.
Yep.
He's doing this work with humanity. The thing that God's doing with dirt, the angels are like, what is going on?
Yeah,
and there's this glory of God being revealed to them through his power through mankind.
Right.
And at the same time, they're the ministering spirits that minister to us. And in the end, there's this perfect plan to God's glory that is just going to be amazing, that we don't have any idea why it's that way. But to your point, it has to be worth it.
Right. Yeah. We get the barest outline of what heaven looks like, and it's nothing but good. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay.